Thank you for your kind words. I must confess that I stand here before you still wondering how I got here, to be honored by so many great people. It came as a great surprise to me, as indeed did so many things in my life, many of them not so pleasant. There was a time still fresh in my mind when I nearly became a tragic statistics, a victim of war. I woke up one day in my hometown Sarajevo in the spring of '92 under the sniper fire and mortar attack. Before the war, I was a young journalist. Before the war, I had a perfect life. Before the war was something that my grandparents used to say when they talked about Second World War. It is still strange when I say it, and it's even more strange that I say it in English now rather than in Bosnian. The war in Bosnia was widely reported, and I imagine that most of you read and heard a lot about it. But let me briefly tell you how it felt for me. With every shell that landed in a distance, I wondered if it was someone I know and love. With every whistle of a sniper bullet passing by, I wondered if it was my high school sweetheart now shooting at me in the name of some deranged politics or some extreme idea of ethnic identity. The city was under a siege within days. We had no food, no water, no electricity. I was lucky. Lucky because I could only be killed and wounded from a distance. I was lucky I was not put into a concentration camp. I was not raped. My sanity was maintained through my work with brilliant war correspondents who came from all over the world. They came to report the war that was beyond the imagination of a civilized world. I spoke English, and the least I could do was to help them do their job and tell the rest of the world what was going on. You have to remember that this was a different time, and war correspondents were the only voice we had to tell our story. After 18 months, I was rescued from this living hell by my fellow journalists. A friend offered me a spare bedroom in London. I spoke English. I thought I could go back to work as a journalist and start my life again. What I did not know is that Britain, like many other European countries, has an adversarial asylum system. I was refused asylum on a technicality because I had traveled through Croatia. Coming from the war zone was just not good enough. Once again, though, I was lucky. The good people of London saved me. They dragged me out of my misery and gave me a new lease on life. Friends and strangers supported me, campaigned for me, and got me through each day, one day at a time. Not because they thought I was special, but because they thought that was the right thing to do. They made me feel it is possible to trust another human being, and life slowly started to make sense again. The war may have turned me into a victim, but the people of London made me a survivor. That small act of human kindness, that helping hand, was all that was needed. That is what I do now, provide a helping hand to survivors. Asylum seekers are not allowed to work, not allowed to continue their education. They are doubted and disbelieved. If you give people a chance to survive, they will survive and go on to thrive and help others. If they're given a chance, they can be again doctors and poets and parents and teachers and bus drivers, engineers and journalists. Being able to find sanctuary in London has given me the strength to go back to Bosnia, where I will be next week at the Bridge of Peace Youth Festival, helping heal and rebuild my country. I accept this award on behalf of the Migrant and Refugee Communities Forum and our supporters in London. I thank the Women's Refugee Commission and all of you for this great honor. I cannot take credit for any of the work I have done. not out of sense of false modesty, but simply because I know that I could not have done any of this on my own. It is great inspiration for all of us to be recognized in this way, because there is still a lot of work that we all need to do. I want to leave you with words that inspire me ever since I heard them several years ago. In a lecture for the Holocaust Memorial Day, Professor Bauer said, "Let us agree that we need 3 more commandments, and they are these. Thou shalt not be a perpetrator. Thou shalt not be a victim. Thou shalt never, but never, be a bystander." Thank you for not being a bystander.